Fastlane Founders and Legacy with Jason Barnard. Each week, Jason sits down with successful entrepreneurs, CEOs, and executives and get them to share how they mastered the delicate balance between rapid growth and enduring success in the business world. How can we quickly build a profitable business that stands the test of time and becomes our legacy? A legacy we're proud of. Fastlane Founders and Legacy with Jason Barnard.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to another Fastlane Founders and Legacy. I'm Jason Barnard from CaddyCube, and I'm here with Jesse Kirshbaum. A quick hello, and we're good to go. Welcome to the show, Jesse Kirshbaum.
I love that little jingle intro. Thank you, Jason.
Brilliant. Yeah, we're talking about music and brands, so that little jingle intro is absolutely perfect. And quickly tell me, what are we talking about? How to bring music and brands together, or how brands can leverage music?
So basically, I live at the intersection of music and technology and brand partnerships. My clients are brands, event companies, tech companies that want to get deeper connections to their consumers by leveraging the power of music. But it's various ways you can do this. It could be partnering with an artist. It could be a live event. It could be seating at a sponsorship at an event. It could be, product placement in a music video. There's just so many interesting ways to put music and brands together. And that's what we do for our clients all day long. And like you, I'm a music fan and just a consummate consumer. And I've been in the music space for a long, long time and just really live, eat, drink, breathe, and sleep what's happening in the intersection of music and brands and technology. So very well versed in it.
Which is a great point. I think all human beings have a musical soul. And so it's a great way for brands to communicate and to get closer to their audience. Before we start with that conversation, I wanted to show you your representation in Google. And it says here, Jesse Kirshbaum is an author because you wrote a book. We often see this. I would imagine you should be an entrepreneur rather than author, but because you wrote a book, Google thinks that you're an author. However, that looks like a really good Google search result for your name. And then if we look in Google Learn About, which is the ChatGPT killer, Google Learn About is taking ChatGPT to a new level where it mixes its understanding of the world with the search results with an ability to converse with the user. And when I asked it to tell me about Jesse Kirshbaum, it tells me very accurately who you are. And at CaddyCube, we believe and we understand that that's hugely important to you because your users, your prospects, your clients are going to be searching your name, whether it's on Google or ChatGPT or Google Learn About. Now, who are your clients? Any kind of company, big companies, small companies?
Yeah, it can range. Sometimes it could be a big Fortune 100 company. We just launched a chocolate milk with DJ Khaled and Nesquik, which was Nestle's chocolate milk business. It was their first foray into the artist and music side of things. And we put together first a television commercial and then with Khaled, an original flavor that now is in 1,500 stores, everything from Walmart to 7-Eleven to Publix to Kruger's. So we come from a standpoint of finding the artist and then bringing the deal together with the artist and then making sure all the deliverables from the artist are met and then creating all sorts of marketing moments, stunts that are aligned to the artist. And then it spawned an original idea. So we launched an original flavor called Another Bun with DJ Khaled. So in that instance, our client is Nestle, but also we have a close relationship with DJ Khaled. So that puts us in the unique position to do that. Where we sit in this ecosystem is we're completely agnostic. We don't work on behalf of the labels, the talent agencies, the management companies, the DSPs. We work with holistically the entire industry. So when the brands hire us, you're not just getting force-fed a priority artist. We're looking at it and saying, here's who you should be working with. So clients could be big Fortune 100 companies. They could be emerging brands that understand, like you said before, that music is this great connector, this universal language, and that it's a huge passion point for consumers. So leveraging music and using music in certain facets, even if you're an emerging brand, can be extremely impactful. So we have a different spin on like the creator economy because we're really focused on this lane of music and entertainment.
Right. And when you talk about deliverables, what kind of deliverables are brands looking for, and what kind of deliverables can artists reasonably deliver?
Well, there's huge following and fan base. So from just a
Mm,
traditional like posting standpoint, timing, making sure it's the right amount of posts, making sure that the right messaging and meta tags are on those posts, making sure that artists are showing up to different shoots or different, uh, you know, promises that are
mhm,
included that they need to do. Usually, we love it when an artist will go above and beyond because it's an authentic connection. So it really feels like something that they want to promote and go hard for, so to speak. So,
mhm.
really kind of guiding that conversation, understanding what an artist or a particular artist is looking to do and why it really matches with what this brand or this tech company or this platform is also looking to do, and then finding that authentic connection and then watering it and helping it to grow and making sure that sometimes we're reminding artists, hey, this new deliverable or this new tentpole moment is coming up. Let's make sure to post at the right time, make sure that all the right components of that are in place. So, it's not just as simple as just like putting people together and thinking it's going to happen. There's strategy and tactics and managing against timelines that are, a lot of the unfun but kind of crucial components to what makes these partnerships really
Mm.
successful.
Right. And you mentioned strategy. The social media aspect is all
Yeah.
this quick buzz. We're getting a lot of visibility very quickly. How do we turn that into a strategy?
I believe that buzz and kind of shock and awe can grab attention,
Yeah.
but it doesn't systematically win. What wins is really understanding what a brand wants, what an artist wants, and how to create and tailor fit something. So it's
Yeah.
not as simple as like, let's capture a moment and think that it's going to continue to ripple. You have to stay constantly on top of the social graph. There are definitely going viral is a good thing, but it's not a strategy, so to speak, and it doesn't necessarily yield long-term effects unless you're jumping on top of that and know what to do with it when lightning strikes. So I feel like it's all strategy, but also being able to be nimble and flexible and opportunistic in case
Right.
you catch lightning in a bottle, which does happen, especially when you're playing in culture.
Right. Does it have to be a big artist to catch that lightning in a bucket?
Absolutely not. There's so
Brilliant.
much excitement around emerging artists, artists that are on the rise. Their fan base is rabid. And we've seen this on time and time again, countless deals that we've done where the artist that's actually buzzing right now, their fan base is so in tune with them and they're so rooting for them. And everyone wants to be like, I found that artist and telling their friends about that. So there's an engagement level around emerging artists that is really exciting. And different brands have different definitions of what an emerging artist is. Right now, Chapel Roan, Grammy award winning best new artist, is in many way people seeing this emerging artist. So her fan base is really in tune. She can be a
Mhm.
spokesperson on behalf of the artist community because people care what she has to say. She's raw, she's authentic, she's not jaded, and people are really into what she says. Now, that's a different story. People, even artists that are just kind of catching fire in different art markets, regions, touch points, tentpole kind of activations, these moments happen. And brands are more savvy than ever when it comes to how to work with creators. And
Mhm.
because this creator economy is just building all this infrastructure. So working with a musician that's emerging still could be like working with a micro influencer, but with so much more potential because they're creating art, they're creating music, they can create content, they can transfer over into different platforms than like an influencer with nice eyelashes.
Brilliant. And What are the different ways to measure the return on investment? I mean, you can create specific products or services, as you said earlier on. What are the ways to measure how I'm getting return on investment from a partnership with a musical artist?
When it comes to shifting culture,
Hmm.
it might not be as clear as a Facebook ad or a Google search query or sometimes Instagram influencers. You can buy a certain number of impressions and guarantee it, but it's not the same as really being able to be in the trenches and watching something grow and build and impact people's lives. The ripple effect of doing proper music marketing is not as like A to B as one might think. It takes time, it takes investment, it takes um, belief in the fact that you know that music's an important passion point for your
Hmm.
consumer. And over time, you start to see that your brand significance, your brand recognition, your brand affinity is growing. Calls are coming in. People want to work with you at better rates. You're all of a sudden uh, becoming something that other people are wanting to talk about beyond just the transaction. Um, yeah, you can definitely see sales and you can see it's
Hmm.
tied, of course, to revenue, but working with music and musicians can bring earned media and results that are exponential. I think of it like, yeah, you need your social media strategy and your, SEO strategy, but working and allocating some facet of your brand strategy to music and culture can deliver exponential results. And that X factor beyond pays like it weighs. And you got to take
Right.
those swings if you want to impact.
Okay. And which are your favorite uh, brand musician relationships that you've seen? Not necessarily that you've done. Ones that stand out in your mind over the last 20 or 30 years?
Well, if you think about the biggest stories in music over the past decade, it really is about these music and brand partnerships. Beats and Dre. Like
Hmm.
that is bigger than Dr. Dre's catalog of music. He's made more money on these headphones than he will in the entirety of his 40-year body of work as a superstar producer and artist. And it's
Hmm.
just really exciting to see that products like that can then lead to Apple Music and then the halftime show with Kendrick Lamar and the ripple just continues. So really like I love when it's not just as simple as like an artist made a pair of sneakers or a headphones. It's actually like a paradigm shifting opportunity that's bringing more results and revenue than all of the sum of its parts. So Rihanna's doing that
Yeah.
with Fendi. It's just we could go on with just so many of these impactful partnerships that are using the musician's celebrity and taste and insights and audience and influence, but really like tapping into their creativity to just create something that um, lives on way beyond the music. But it only happens because this artist is making or has made such
Yeah.
great, impactful music. So it really works well together. But I love the business of artists launching their own brands or partnering with big companies to create products that will be an extension of who they are and their marketplace.
Right. Brilliant. And are we looking more at the youth market or can it be any market?
I think the beautiful thing about music is that everybody can connect to it, right? People might not like
Mhm.
sports, people might not like fashion, people might not be foodies, but everybody loves music in some capacity. So music can be useful if you're marketing to a boomer, like who's not buying a Beatles M&M, or it could be very impactful when marketing to Gen Alpha and the next Kids Bop or Bluey soundtrack or even all of these different musicians. So, like, the beautiful thing is it needs to be specific. I don't think you would use Kendrick Lamar to sell Huggies, but maybe there's a way to do that. I do think that it's all about really understanding the ecosystem and having the right touch and strategy to know what music and what facets of the music business you should use to sell to different generations. But yeah, music is very impactful um, all across the board. I think we all connect to music in some capacity.
Yeah, music is universal, definitely. But now, with AI, emerging technologies, the world is changing very fast. What we were doing yesterday isn't going to work tomorrow. What are we going to do for tomorrow?
Yeah, it's so exciting because technology is again changing the whole world, but music was at the forefront of the digital revolution. If
Mhm.
you remember Napster, like the business was selling CDs by the boatload and then just completely decimated by this, 2000 era internet. And then music figured it out. And music
Mhm.
again was in the trenches with Spotify and figuring out streaming before everybody else. So music is really a digital trendsetter, and the biggest artists or the biggest people on social media, most of them are musicians and artists. So I
Mhm.
imagine that what's going to happen with these new technology opportunities are that again, music is going to be at the forefront. And we saw that in some early days with music, chat GPT and versions of like fake Drake raps and just different kind of
Mhm.
auto-tuned components, and where music is really being affected by technology and AI. But I think what we're seeing now is like the rise of the amateur musician is happening because of AI, and it's just lifting the bottom up, but it's also putting a premium on the great authentic songwriters and the people that actually make the music. So I think ultimately, in a lot of ways, this is going to be a huge boom and opportunity for musicians, for fans, for creators, for audience. But it's just still so early innings in technology that I think we're all looking at it and figuring it out. But one thing you can bet on is that music is going to be at the forefront of what's happening here and really being a defining factor in people connecting to it and to the creators feeding it, and probably in the early ways of use cases. And we've already seen that with AI, but again, it's moving so fast. There is
Mhm.
this first mover advantage in technology.
Yeah.
And we saw that in social, and we've seen that time and time again on new platforms. So it's important. And I always advise musicians, artists, clients to be looking at emerging platforms and looking at them as opportunities, like almost for attention arbitrage. Here's
Mhm.
where you should be early because the attention to that is going to bring you bigger results
Yeah.
because the community is just growing. And so it's almost like an emerging artist, but this is an emerging platform and there's huge opportunity to build your brand on that platform early and
Mhm.
get exponential results that will benefit. So I think it's music is a driver of these platforms. Music's going to bring audience to these platforms. And I think that, musicians and these platforms should be very embracing of musicians and music and their fan base, because it can be the difference maker in if a platform is successful or relevant in culture or not.
Right, which is a really great way to end it. It's that music is universal. Music is what's driving all these platforms. Musicians and authentic musicians are what attract people. And if a brand can get on that bandwagon in a meaningful manner to relate to their audience, to get their users much more on board with the brand, get them to feel more emotionally attached to the brand, then it's a win for both parties. In fact, it's a win for all three parties because you have the brand, the platform, and the artist.
And the fans.
Ah,
It becomes
four.
a new access point, right? So it becomes a win for everybody. It's a great ecosystem. And if you can't figure out where to start or navigate, this is what I do all day long. I listen to music, talk about music, come up with creative ways, innovative ways to leverage technology and music and brand partnerships. So I would definitely be happy to help. And I do a newsletter every single week talking about what's going on in music and brands and breaking down what's happening in the space. So it's a really good resource. It's kind of my love letter to the music and marketing world. And it just kind of gives everybody an opportunity to see what is happening so that they can figure out, hey, this is an interesting
Yeah.
touch point that maybe we can get involved in. So you can always reach out to me. I'm easy to find,
Brilliant.
and I'm glad to be able to have this platform to talk about what I do.
Super. Thank you so much, Jesse. That was delightful and interesting. You get the
Thanks,
outro
Jason.
song. A quick goodbye to end the show. Thank you, Jesse, and thank you everyone for watching.
Sign this man. Let's put his music out. It's beautiful, and it just put a nice, heartwarming finish to this interview. Thank you again.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Jesse.
Your corporate and personal brands are what Google and AI say they are. We can give you back control. Telecube.